I mean, one of the things that struck me when I was looking at traditional ways of celebrating Christmas is that it was actually considered to be tremendously bad luck if you put your decorations up before Christmas Eve.
So we're all, by the sounds of it, we're all doomed because we've all been putting them up a lot earlier than Christmas Eve during the Tudor period. It was a very long festival. It ran right until Candlemas, and Candlemas is the 2nd of February. So we're talking 40 days and 40 nights, which sounds much better than 12. I reckon we've been shortchanged. That's just not on. 12 days. One of the things I was interested in is a bit of language, a bit of the English language that comes back to what a Tudor Christmas would have looked like. And the wealthy households would have this massive feast on Christmas Day. There would always be a big pie centre stage of a Tudor Christmas dinner in a wealthy household. And at the end of Christmas dinner, it was tradition to gather up the crusts and all the stuff that was left from the pie, the gristle and the crusts, to go out into the village and choose who they thought was most deserving, and knock on their door and hand over these crusts and bits of leftovers from the pie. And that tradition was known as the dole. So, if you've ever been in receipt of unemployment benefit and you've called it, I'm on the dole, then that's exactly what that is referencing, is that old Christmas tradition of the wealthy giving out the leftovers to the poor. But, of course, it all changed, didn't it? We had that peculiar moment in 1647 when they just turned around and said, that's it now, Christmas is banned. And, ladies and gentlemen, it was banned for 12 years. It was illegal to celebrate Christmas. But interestingly, it was during the period that Christmas was outlawed that we have the very first reference to Father Christmas.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, isn't that just weird? So as we consider Father Christmas to be the absolute epitome of Christmas. But when he first came into being, now let me just put this into context of history. So we had the Civil War, which, even though it wasn't over by 1647, it still sort of dragged on until 1651. By 1647, the parliamentarians were in charge, and we had quite a dour set of people running the country around Puritan values. And the Puritans just didn't want Christmas because there's absolutely no precedent for it in Scripture. It's something that got created after the event. So they said, well, there's no mention of this in the Bible, so we're not going to do it. As you can imagine, not everyone was delighted with that decision, but there was a pamphleteer, and we don't know what his real name was, but he went under the pseudonym of Simon Minced Pie. So he had a sense of humour, and it was called, this is very catchy, The Arraignment, Conviction and Imprisoning of Christmas, and it was published in 1646, and he had it printed and distributed throughout the whole country. And in it, he mocked people who celebrated Christmas. And he talked about Christmas as if it was a person called Old Father Christmas. And he taunted his readers by suggesting that this character was old, out of shape, overweight, overindulgent, bedraggled, unkempt in appearance, with long hair and a, quote, hoary beard, unquote. Which had not been groomed, and he described him as full and fat, and that he had loose morals with women, and these traits were apparently bad things. So when Father Christmas first came into existence, he was meant to epitomise everything, all the indulgences of Christmas, and how bad Christmas was, and how lucky we all were to have gone away, moved away from it. It clearly didn't work that well because at the Restoration in 1660, when Christmas was reintroduced, a whole sea of pamphlets were produced by people who were basically rebutting his pamphlet. And we've got Samuel Pepys, amongst others, joining in this. And also Josiah King, probably the most famous one of the lot. had various cartoons and things who were lampooning this Father Christmas character. And Josiah King wrote, "His cherry cheeks appeared through his thin milk-white locks like blushing roses, veiled with snow-white tiffany, the true emblem of joy and innocence." So what he was doing was just throwing it straight back in Simon Mince-Pie's face and saying, have it. Father Christmas is a good thing, and we like all the things that he embodies. And I mentioned Samuel Pepys. So he described the return of Christmas as the return of an old friend. An old Christmas returned, he wrote. Old Christmas is come to keep open house. He scorns to be guilty of starving a mouse. Then come boys and welcome for diet the chief. Plum pudding, goose capon, minced pies and roast beef. Christmas changed a bit down the years. It got banned for a while. It came back, and Father Christmas, a political puppet in the middle of it all.